what women want, but what people actually do in real life.
Yeah,
what
you
people
work on
do.
OnlyFans. It's right there.
What do you mean?
Let's talk about the average woman.
We have 28% of sexless men. Hold on, we have 28% of men.
Wait, where are you getting 28% of sexless men?
Between the ages of 18 to 30, these men have had no sex in the last year. And that, hold on.
What year?
Well, but that went from 2014
Not
to 2018.
2021, like we're trying to update it all of a sudden.
2022, it's not that. It's between 12 to 15% that have had zero
And
sexual
it's been on the
partners.
steady decline since 1989, as a matter
Yeah,
of
because
fact.
younger people. So in fact, 25 to 30, GSS 2022, 8% of men reported zero sexual partners.
Right up until 2020 when it fell off a cliff and then went right back up to where it is.
No, it's not. It's
See, here's the thing
2022.
is everybody wants to look at that GSS study. They want to look at just what's happened since like 2019 to where we are right now, as opposed to the fact that it was from 1989 all the way to 2018, which is the time shift for that entire study.
No, I mean, the 2018 was like the year that all the incels, red pillars took that graph because that was actually an anomaly, even when you looked at years before, and especially when you looked at years after. Sexlessness is down. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the GSS.
That's only that stat that you're looking at is one data point among probably like a dozen.
It was an anomaly from 2008 when the iPhone was created till 2018. That's the point.
But that's not because 2018, the 28% of men who reported zero sex, that wasn't in any other year. That when that one GSS 2018 study that hasn't been there, and for zero partners, and then every year, even before and after, it's been less, and especially when you look at 25 and up, because 18 to 25 have lower, they're doing everything less. They're having less sex. They're more likely to be virgins, everything. As soon as you go 25 and up, do you know what the rate of virgins for men 25 and over are? It's like 2%. Look that up. For 25 and over, the rate of virgin males are like less than 2%.
I don't necessarily think a man not being a virgin means that he's doing well sexually. It just means that he's had sex
even
one
if
time.
if we looked at the most recent data we have between 18 and 30, it's 12 to 15% of men, and if you look at 25 and up, it goes way down. And 25 to 30, it's 8% of men.
But it has to progressively go down. Like once I have sex, then I can't go back to not having sex.
But I'm saying those people have one sexual, like if we look at just in the past year in 2022, and you look at 25 to 30, 8% of men reported zero sexual partners.
Sure.
So what's the contention?
God damn. What? God damn, what the fuck? All right, chat.
I'm lost.
Well, hold on. I wanted to besides the sexless one, because you were saying like how is hypergamy personified now, right? So you gotta. Okay, so more and more women are meeting men online, right? I think somewhere between 20 to 50% of new marriages they met online, right?
Less than half of women are online though. Like less than half of women use dating apps.
I understand that, but it's growing exponentially. It used to be, we go back 10 years, right? It used to be kind of taboo to be on a dating app.
Do you know what the number one dating app on planet Earth is?
Yeah,
Instagram.
Yeah, and they don't keep data for that. So, so what I was gonna say was like with the conventional dating apps, it's growing in the popularity of people meeting, and then on top of that, you add in Instagram, right? Because a lot of girls are meeting guys on Instagram as well. So you're saying, well, okay, how is hypergamy personified? If you look at the dating apps, women swipe right on Tinder, like on only 5% of the guys. On Bumble, most guys are virtually invisible. I think like 88% of men are invisible because women screen for 6 feet tall. That's a component of hypergamy. And here's the other thing too. You got to understand that hypergamy is a multivariate situation. What that means is women screen for a multitude of different things: height, income, competence, aesthetics, teeth, physicality. All these different things come into it. So whether it's not just for money, because you're looking at it like from a money perspective. But what I am saying is that women, right, even though they say, oh, I want egalitarian equal partnership, they don't necessarily they're not attracted to that, or they're not aroused by that.
So I agree with you about dating apps, but dating apps, we've seen time and time again, that data is not reflected into real life. This idea that this percent of men is having sex with all these women isn't borne out by the data. There seems to be a percentage of sociosexual women, and there seems to be a percentage of promiscuous men, and they seem to be fucking each other. That seems to be what's going on with that.
Yeah, but
what you're saying about
percentage of
being
guys that are
height,
promiscuous is a minority of men.
Yeah, and it's also a minority of women. And what I'm saying, it's not this minority of men that's having sex with all the women. There seems to be 10% of women around that are high in sociosexuality. They're more likely to have casual sex, and those women and the men that are also high in that are kind of sleeping with each other. Most people, if you look at all the GSS data from the past few years, over 80% of people are having sex with one person that year. They seem to be having sex in relationships. Also, when you talk about height, you're right. On dating apps, because we have no choice. Every time I've used them, I go 6 feet up too. Otherwise, I'm going to get way too many men.
So that's
But
hypergamy.
no, but when you
That is
actually,
hypergamy.
but when you actually look at what's happening in real life, ResearchGate did a big thing on this. It was like over 60,000 men, and they looked at BMI, they looked at height,
Yeah,
and
that
they
does have an effect.
no, it doesn't, because
Yes, absolutely
well,
does. In
pull
fact,
up-
I can
pull
show
up-
you divorce
wait,
stats
pull
from
up-
people who are overweight.
pull up
that I do have.
that the research, at least when it comes to number of sexual partners, lifetime sexual partners, extremely short, and then there was extremely short, at whatever, and then extremely tall. Between extremely short and extremely tall, there was a difference of 3. You have 3 more partners.
Yeah, but-
when they looked at BMI too, it was the same. It's not like it makes.
mean-
And then here's the other thing too, because I want to
Common sense.
because you're talking about this hypergamy, how's it personified, and then like again, we talked about this before, like in the 1800s, whatever that you were talking about before, marrying across social status, etc. Cool. But you got to remember, they were limited to their own geographic area. So a girl, right? She was only limited to the people in her neighborhood that her family knew, etc., in her town at best, right? But now, thanks to the internet, thanks to Instagram, etc., that has completely changed the game. And who's it changed the game for is women, because it's given women more options. It's created this aura of their grass is always greener on the other side. And here's the other thing too. I can't tell you, and hell, you do this as well. Women always say, oh, I have so many guys in my DMs. I have so many men that approach me, etc. You are absolutely lying if you're not going to tell me that does not influence your mating strategies. Because when you know that you have a bunch of guys in the pipeline, you can go ahead and afford to be way more picky and way more nitpicky on certain things that aren't that really big. But that's why women are so selective nowadays, where most guys don't qualify, because they have a huge arsenal of men that are willing to date them. So what's effectively happened thanks to technology is it's actually made hypergamy stronger.
But what I mean
Hold
is,
on.
why is that then not borne out? Because even now, people tend to marry across socioeconomic status, across IQ, even across physical attractiveness. So why are we not seeing, with the advent of dating apps, that now all these like Starbucks women are marrying lawyers? It's not happening.
Well, here's the thing. You're going to see it in the next 5 to 10 years once we actually have a good amount of time elapsed where social media, right, has been used.
Yeah.
Because
I'll tell you exactly
this
why
is
that
all-
is. Is
That's a good
because,
point.
because
Like,
women are,
hold on. Even in the past 5 years alone, there's been a drastic change in social media and usage and dating apps, etc. So we don't have the data yet. We're probably not going to see the data on the effects of what's going on now for another 5 to 10 years.
There
Also,
was a
we're
2022
forgetting-
study that looked at
Talk so much.
sorry, I know. They looked at the. Well, you told me that I would come here for a debate. That's what so the 2022 study looked at
Bro, I didn't say words that says like 30
they
minutes
looked
ago,
at
bro.
fraternities, and they looked at these so-called
Damn.
chads that get all these swipes, and they had like a 4-point-something% increase in partners. It wasn't like Tinder going into these colleges where actually yes,
I
people
really
swipe.
don't mean to be rude, but can we like allow other people to speak?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Like, I just,
Well, yeah. I mean, please, if you got something to say,
I wanna say
like,
one
just
thing.
raise,
Okay,
go
I
like this and we'll know. Yeah.
So to your point,
Sure.
right?
Oh, okay.
Regarding dating apps, dating apps itself is manifesting women's true nature. Again, women that magically say, "Oh, 6 feet tall, good looking," is naturally in them. So the dating apps that came about on the internet. I'm just saying before it was always there.
But with dating apps, we have nothing. Like, if I go on a dating app, I don't care if a guy's 6 feet tall, but I have
You
to
did
select
do
for
that.
something. But you can't
literally just screened
otherwise.
for it a second ago.
But what I'm trying to say is, I have no choice but to screen for those superficial things. That's why a lot of
Okay,
women don't use them.
maybe you're
That's why
different.
men are outnumbering women 3 to 1, 5 to 1 on these
Maybe
dating apps.
you're
Women don't like
different.
it.
But they're outnumbering men 5 to 1 and 3 to 1 because they're not getting sex. That's the thing. They're playing. That is the reason.
Why don't more women use them? Why do less than like 40% of women use
honestly,
them?
because women.
Because you have Instagram.
Because women in every culture are less interested in casual sex than men, and these dating apps are for casual sex. But the point wasn't whether or not you have sex on there. The point was, did you find these other people attractive? If the top 20% of men are getting 83% of the right swipes, but the top 43% of women are getting 63% of the right swipes, that means in general,
They can't see that roll.
the distribution for men is equal, and the distribution for women is shifted to the left.
I understand that, but in real life,
Hold on,
like,
wait.
that's the thing. Like, if I go on a dating app,
Oh,
all
what's
I'm
that
gonna
sentence?
screen for, because I can only talk to 10 people, are the most attractive. But in real
wanna
life,
get
I don't
girls'
give a fuck
input on
about
this.
that.
All
So
right,
that's why I
real
don't.
I was
something-
bored too.
So listen on real quick. Dating apps, right? Even before dating apps, didn't you worry about men's height or, for example, their looks off rip without dating apps?
Yeah.
Yeah? For you?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
So the question is, right? Before dating apps, right? Before you rebond.
You could do this with a yes or no.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, get your things ready. Before dating apps. Go ahead. Go ask your question.
How did you select for men? Was it height? Was it looks? For example, did dating apps actually change your opinion of how you look for men?
The dating
No,
apps
right?
changed.
No.
So from the very
No.
beginning, it was
Okay.
in you to want.
Hold on.
kind of a man.
If it's a no, give me a thumbs down. If dating apps did not change your preferences in men, okay. All right. Mostly girls are saying it did not change their preferences.
So
Okay, only
hypergamy
two
was
did.
always there from
No.
the very beginning.
But what I mean is, you may say, okay, if your argument is women want this, women all want men that are 6 feet tall, fine. But what I'm saying is that the men that are 6 feet tall versus the men that are 5'5", 5'6", they're not having less. Those shorter men are not having less partners; they're having different partners, and that goes along with my it's assortative mating, it's similarity attraction hypothesis. That people typically, even if they want this, what's happening in real life is people are still kind of falling, and then there seems to be a percentage of men and a percentage of women that are higher in sociosexuality, they're more promiscuous, and they seem to be hooking up with each other. The majority of people have had one partner in the
I'd be
past.
very reluctant to believe studies that deal with female promiscuity and them being honest and forthcoming about it. But you want to say something? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say you're very smart, but I think that you talk too much.
Well, no, that's you know what, totally fair. In my defense, when I got asked to be here, they told me there would be a switch.
Jasmine, will you-
They told me,
and like
Will you just go on his show and just talk to him for
I will
just go stats?
absolutely sure. But what I mean
Let's just go stats.
in my defense, they told me that they would bring on they would have women like you on, and then women like me on separately. That's what they
is
told
women
me.
like me, though?
It's fine.
I want to know. I'm not even coming at you. Like, what is women like me? Because we don't know each other.
Oh,
No,
shit.
what I mean is like women who are I haven't heard you. Maybe you're super equipped to have this conversation, but I
No,
was
I'm
asked
actually
on.
very not. But I would just like to let other people speak.
Go
That's
ahead,
it.
speak. No one's on your mic.
Yeah, no, to be fair, like
Yeah.
she thought this was going to be more of
Yeah.
a debate. I think this is great. I think what they should do is just the two of them should
I
square
agree.
off
That's what I
and
thought
just
this
do like
was.
something on
Well,
Zoom.
also, the chat is finding this kind of like.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I'm
also,
with you.
they're getting very
I
engaged.
disagree
so
with
we
you.
gotta, like,
Real
Also,
quick,
like,
I disagree.
it's losing me a little bit. I'm
real-
not gonna lie. Like, that's why I say like I'm not equipped to have this conversation. So
Yes.
it's like,
Right.
Yeah,
we just
so
mix
I
it
thought
up?
it was a little.
I disagree with you about the hypergamy thing. I absolutely.
We can have our own
for
conversation
sure,
later,
for
which is
sure.
what I thought
I'm
this
just,
was.
I'm just saying, like anecdotally, I'm confused that you don't see it either. If you go out on a regular basis saying the women fighting for the same, like 6 women fighting for the same dude, I see it constantly, all the time. Dr. Scott Galloway, he agrees with me. Richard Reeves agrees with me. Like there is an inequity when it comes to dating, and anecdotally, I see it. I see a dude with a 500 body count and several of my friends with 3. I see that all over the place. But if you don't believe that that's a sign
Yeah,
of
and I think we
hypergamy,
should. I don't want to take
Okay,
more
cool,
people,
yeah,
but we
I
can have
understand.
our
Talk about
own.
this outside of the podcast.
Oh, shit. All right.
We can talk. I want to hear other people's
got something,
ratings of
Pixie? Go
themselves. Yeah, there's just a
That's what I
couple.
was gonna say. Is that we never finished that. We stopped
Yeah.
at her.
Yeah,
and
let's
then
do
we
it.